Welcome to the show, everybody. It's the Crypto Lark sitting down with K-Dub to talk some awesome crypto chat for you guys. K-Dub, welcome.
How's it going, Lark? It is an honor to be on your channel. I'm sure a lot of your viewers may not know who I am. I would assume most of my viewers know who you are, unless you've been living under a rock. But if you don't, for my viewers, this is the Crypto Lark. He runs an amazing YouTube channel. I've been following it for quite some time. So, Lark, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on your channel, bro.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
You know, one of the things that I always love introducing my audience and, I guess the wider crypto community to other crypto YouTubers who are doing really quality stuff. And when I saw some of your videos, like, man, this dude's doing quality stuff. So absolutely happy to have you on. Now, let's just jump into it and start talking crypto. It's red. The markets are red. What's going on? What do you think are some of the leading factors behind some of the big drops we've seen, particularly in Ethereum? We've seen some absolutely brutal action happening on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, I'm no professional, but as far as the overall market goes, I mean, we can honestly just look at it. There are a lot of factors right now. I mean, you're still, I mean, I don't know about you guys over New Zealand, right? That's where you're at?
Yep, that's it.
Well, in America, we're still in our tax season over here. So we still have until April. So I'm assuming that that's something that a lot of people are still dealing with. At the same time, you have seen that little bit of disinterest lately with crypto. You had the John Oliver show where he was kind of basically comparing cryptos to Beanie Babies. And, the Google search trends are showing that it's not that interesting right now. And unfortunately, as we've seen, when the price is at an all-time high, that's when your mom, your dad, your cousin wants to get involved and buy. And, right now we've been doing a slightly sideways downward movement for almost 2.5 months right now. So that could be a factor. You also mentioned the Ethereum thing. Now, I don't know if we should start it off directly with conspiracy. I don't know if that's like,
let's go straight right conspiracy.
We're going right to the conspiracy. All right, demonetized right now. All right, so, okay, we've had this discussion on my channel for quite some time. And the big question with the whole Ethereum is a lot of these ICOs, I think it was roughly 94% of cryptos at this point are ERC20 token at this point. And the question is, what are these projects doing with all this Ethereum, right? I mean, you send them the Ethereum, they give you a token. Great, awesome. Now, we hope that the token has value, but now they have Ethereum, which we already know has value. So then what are these companies doing? I mean, nobody really knows. There was that thing with EOS where somebody was tracing back to the wallets on Bitfinex. They were, dumping large amounts. So I think it's just a whirlwind, man. I think it's a perfect storm, just a combination of everything going on right now. I mean, what's your opinion on it?
Yeah, it's absolutely that. And there's so many different factors that come in, and the ICOs dumping, especially now, because we assume that the CEOs or the financial officers at any given ICO company are above emotions or whatever, but they didn't dump at 1,300. Now the market's going down, they're going, oh my God, we have to get rid of this Ethereum because we need to have cash in order to fund our business or whatever it might be. So there's definitely a bit of that going on without a doubt. Obviously the Ethereum ASIC, or at least the rumor of the Ethereum ASIC from Bitmain, could have some influence. The cryptocurrency ad ban on Twitter, I mean, it's just like a continuation. I feel like there's this like bombing campaign going on, and sometimes these things happen and think, well, that was really important. Like, nah, man, they just like nuked the city next door. Like, that doesn't really matter at all. So there's a bit of that too. I think even the word of mouth may be more important than a lot of people give it credit to, because like you said, Mom, Pop, Uncle Steve, Aunt Sally, they all bought at the all-time high when CNN was telling people to buy, I think it was CNN, to buy Ripple at like 325 or whatever. They bought it. It's crashed. And so it's typical kind of stuff when you go out and say, hey, if something's really cool, you tell people about it, but if something's bad, you tell 10 times as many people about it. So
yeah. And these things are like super hard to predict, man. I mean, like I know a guy like you've been in the market. I mean, clearly, Lark, I got to say first off on my channel, let me just tell people, I have been following you since you had less subscribers than I actually had myself, man. And, you are partially the reason why I got involved in this. So, for me, I've seen the ups, I've seen the downs. I'm sure we went through the China FUD, the South Korea FUD, even back when Bitcoin Cash was forking. Remember, everybody didn't know what was going to happen with their coins. So, yeah, I mean, we have seen a lot, but it's true, you know, I watch a lot of stuff from like Gary Vaynerchuk, and he does talk about people, and word of mouth influence is really what's pushing and driving a lot of adoption with really everything. You know, the truth is nobody's driving their car looking at the billboard anymore. You know what I mean? Like, nobody cares about these advertisements. They care about what other people are saying. So when everyone is talking about Bitcoin going up from, you know, 3 grand to 20K, it's like, yo, let me get some of that, right? But now everyone's talking about how they got wrecked because they literally dumped everything that they had at the all-time high. So the sentiment right now, it's not great. But the thing that I try to stress on my channel now, you know, no one can give financial advice. But the thing is,
remember,
is that
this is just two dudes on the internet talking about cryptocurrencies, guys.
On the internet. I am on the internet right now, guys. Yeah, the truth is that it's really more of a it just sucks. It just sucks that these people lost as much money as they did. But the truth is that these lows, this red is kind of your friend. You have to like start to retrain your brain to start looking for those sale items instead of chasing highs. But it's hard because it's, you know, FOMO. What do you have? You have FOMO, and you have FUD. What's the key ingredient here? Fear. And that's what drives these markets. So it's tough to be rational. I agree with that, man. Absolutely. Yeah.
Is it fear is the mind killer, right?
Fear is the mind killer. Yeah, absolutely, man.
That's it. It gets to most people, and it kills people in trading. It kills people in long-term investing too, because they get in, they find something that they think is really exciting, and then as soon as we say I lose 10% or something, oh, time to get out, time to lose all my money, and then it's the worst thing ever.
Yeah. And they're so much more volatile than anything else. I mean, people that are used to traditional stocks and stuff like that, you come into crypto and it's like, oh, you're going to get some lessons. You're going to learn.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I mean, I was talking to Crypto Bud, and I was telling him, like, dude, I had no idea. I never read a chart before. You know what I'm saying? And now, well, I'm not a professional, but I think I am. You know, I feel like I am because, damn, it's like, you know, the whole joke is like 1 month in crypto is like a whole year. So at this point, you know, I feel like a middle-aged man. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm starting to build up my pension for retirement. This kills your brain every day. So
it's intense without a doubt, but it's a great learning curve. I mean, just being here, like you said, learning to read charts and learning about all this different technology and really getting your head around some of these different things and the way the markets work and the news cycles and all these things makes you a better person at the end of the day, without a doubt.
Definitely, man.
And right now, the red markets, for the people who are enthusiasts and see opportunity, now is the opportunity time. December was not the opportunity time. It was the time when people who saw the opportunity 3 months before and then sold took their advantage.
And you know, the thing is too, man, is like most people are getting paid on a weekly basis. Like, they have a salary, right? So you have a limited amount of fiat that you can put in. So the thing is your best friend, and I try to stress this, but I know it's difficult, even on my end. Even I get a little crazy sometimes, but, you know, dollar cost averaging is your friend.
Yeah.
Because even, for example, like, dude, I love Icahn. Icahn to me is one of the greatest projects out there. You know, I was lucky to get in at a lower price, and it went all the way up to $13. I didn't sell like an idiot, not gonna lie. Like, a lot of people didn't sell because we thought it was going higher, you know, and now it's gone lower. So the truth is if you bought too high, that doesn't mean that now that it fell, you're at a loss. You know what I'm saying? An average is an average. If you buy high and then low versus you buy low and then high, an average is an average. So you got to stop looking at things so linear. You know, if you bought too high and now it's on sale, now's your opportunity to actually take those two prices, smash them together, and get an average that's a better investment on your behalf. So once you can think like that, I think that's when you can become a better trader and a better investor in this space. So.
Absolutely awesome advice. And, you know, I feel the same way with Icahn. You know, I was watching it go up, and there was kind of a point when it got over, I think, about like kind of like $6.50, $7. I was like, I'm not going to buy any more of that right now. I'll wait. And I bought, you know, a bunch of like $5, for example, and some more at $4. And now it's down to like, it's been as far back down as like $2. And so, yeah, you know, you just kind of keep adding in, you know, and if the end, the stack I will have got it all for, I don't know, $3.30 or something like that. And so when it's $40 at the end of the year, I'll be like, sweet.
Exactly, man.
Nice. Well, let's move on.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Let's move on to the next idea here. I know we were talking about ICOs just briefly a little bit, but ICOs, are they still worth investing in a bear market?
Well, I can't invest in ICOs, so I'm not necessarily the guy to ask. But from an objective point of view, if they're a good ICO, of course. I mean, if it's a legitimate project, I mean, look at what Stratus did last year. Look at what Neo did last year. I mean, but the problem is there's like 3 or 4 different ICOs every day. You know, you should see my Telegram group. You should see my YouTube comments. Hey, what about this coin? What about this ICO? And it's like, I don't know. You know, and unfortunately, a lot of them start to look the same.
Yeah.
Like I start to read these white papers, and it's the same keywords. It's the same objectives. And I'm like, you know, not everyone is going to be able to be the king of this particular sector. You know what I mean? Like, we do have room. There can be multiple blockchains, but not everyone can be a winner. And, you know, we have seen ICOs drop below ICO price. For example, even bigger ICOs like Trinity on Neo. I mean, that was a very big ICO when it came out. And, you know, look what happened. Look what happened with Wanchain. You had people buying at an all-time high. You know, at one point it had even hit like $6.77 for like a flash. And I know somebody bought that.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I try to explain these to people. So as far as ICOs being good investments, it's a gray area. Yes, if it's a good project and you invest in it, but unfortunately, I think more than 90% of these ICOs are going to really be struggling, especially within the next year, because 2017 was the year of the white paper. I don't think that's going to happen this year. I think 2018 is going to be the year of the MVP. I think we want to see working products. You know?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No more of this white paper nonsense. And there's so many like just trendy ideas right now. When I was at the conference in Hong Kong, I think there were a lot of ICOs there, but the majority of them were all exchanges. Like, yeah, we're starting a new exchange. We're going to do our transactions a 1/10 of a second faster, or we're going to have 1/10 of a percentage point lower fees than the next guy. And it's just kind of, okay, we're in the 7-minute abs conversation here. Like, what are you actually bringing to the table? And they're not really bringing much, but they're going to raise $30 million.
Yeah. I mean, if I was a developer, I'd be a lot richer right now, wouldn't I? I would have I would have KDub coin, and I'd be trading on Cryptopia right now. And, you know, I'm sure they would accept. You can't withdraw, but yeah, man, it's definitely crazy times. So honestly, let me ask you a question, because I know a lot of my viewers, everyone's interested in you know, what projects. Like, for example, I know we do coverage. I do news every single day. I talk about 10 coins. But what projects are you interested in? Like, which ones do you think are actually worth looking at in the upcoming, you know, year, or even in the next month?
As far as ICOs mean?
Oh, anything. Coins, ICOs, anything.
Well, let me throw a couple ICOs out, because I think that this is a really interesting market. And one point I do want to add on from the earlier conversation is, if you're ever afraid of missing out on an ICO, don't be. Most of them hit exchanges at around same price or even lower, unless you're getting in early and getting some of those bonuses. And especially if you live in the US and you're like, I'm missing all the ICOs. Remember, they come to exchanges. You can always get them there for a similar-ish price when they come out. At least usually. Some of them really explode, but that's a different thing. But there's a lot of really awesome projects. I mean, I invest in a lot of platforms. I think a lot of those are just so super solid. I mean, obviously we have Icahn. We have Wanchain just came out. Qtum, been a big fan of that for a long time. Stellar has been doing stellar things recently. And so it's, oh yeah, man, Stellar's awesome. And so as these different platforms actually gain traction and we see more and more projects being built on them, like the guys over at Qtum, they have so many projects being built on them. Icahn's got 12 ICOs lined up. I think Wanchain, they have 6, if I remember correctly. And Stellar's got quite a few coming up as well. So it just keeps coming and coming and coming, taking away part of that market share to an extent from Ethereum, because obviously there's more and more projects coming every day too. So there is a continually widening pool. Ethereum's keeping a pretty good section of that right now, but slowly these competitors are eating away at their dominance in the market, I would say.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm definitely a platform infrastructure guy myself. My fans know that. You know, sometimes I actually get a lot of hate. They're like, why don't you talk about these other things? And I'm like, well, here's the thing. This is why I love platforms so much. Because if you have something like Qtum or you know, Neo or anything of that nature, and let's say that a DApp is released and it's a very specific niche market and it tanks, or you know, there's no need for it, or the project goes under, I don't think it's going to affect the platform. You know what I mean? Like, say, you know, Icahn, say they're coming out with, you know, whatever it is in the future. Say they have 6 ICOs coming out or 8 ICOs coming out this year. If 7 of those ICOs fail, I think Icahn will still be all right because they're still being utilized by private and public blockchains, and they're still servicing a real world need. You know what I mean? So, you know, if your DApp can't produce what you say you can, well, that's on you guys. But the infrastructure itself has not changed. And that's the biggest thing too about these red markets. People ask me like, oh, well, you were talking about I've been talking about A-Chain a lot on my channel. I think A-Chain has an amazing product. I've looked into it. I've read the white paper, but the price has been slowly decreasing over the past few months. And people say, oh, well, what's going on with this project? Is it not worth investing in? It's like, guys, the tech didn't change. Nothing about the technology is different. The price is different. And now your perception of it has changed. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Me personally, I stick mostly with those platform type based, like you said, like definitely.
Yeah, there's a few that I wander out to besides the platforms, things like Power Ledger, for example. I really love the renewable energy projects. But I think you make a really good point, and I think Ethereum has actually proved this point. They've had tons of stuff built on top of Ethereum. A lot of it's rubbish, some of it's already disappeared. There's some really amazing projects too, some amazing applications that have been built on top of Ethereum. Mm-hmm. But nevertheless, everything that's been built has driven that demand for Ethereum. And so that's why we've of course seen in the last year Ethereum go from, you know, under $100 to, was it up over 13 or 1400 bucks there for a short time?
It was crazy, man. See, but the other thing too about Ethereum is that people don't realize that you still have these blockchains that are still utilizing Ethereum as an ICO platform. You know what I mean? Like Icahn, they're running their own mainnet, but they used Ethereum to run their token sale.
That's it.
You know, Walton Chain, same thing. They're moving over. There's so many coins. I can't even think. Omisego, that's another great one. Omisego, you know, so to completely rule out the Ethereum platform for what it does and you know, its first mover advantage, it has a great team. It has some of the best developers out there. And people do tend to think that I bash Ethereum. I don't bash Ethereum. It's just that when you have this platform and you release it to the public and you're so, you know, because I mean, back in the day, everyone was so excited. You know, this is internet 3.0. We're going to change the world, smart contracts. And then unfortunately, now you start to notice a loophole here, an issue with the code here. You know, so that is something that we have to be aware of. And a lot of the things that I get on my channel when they talk about Neo being centralized or these other projects, it's like, I think that they're scared. I think that they're worried about what happened with Ethereum. They're worried about like, okay, let's just let the code out. Let's just let everybody just have, you know, playground. Let's do what we want. And then now we have all of these projects that have issues. You know what I mean? So I think that the sandboxing environment is beneficial for some of these moving forward, but I don't know. That's my take on it.
Yeah, it's really interesting, actually, also how many of these projects, different blockchains, not only launch on Ethereum, but also want to be related with Ethereum. How many are using Solidity as their programming language, or at least as an intermediary step, are using the Ethereum virtual machine. Like, yeah, we're building our own blockchain, we're going to use Solidity and EVM. Like, okay, cool, guys. Like, you're going to do anything out of your own at some point, but they will. But they all want to be interoperable, too. Everybody is always looking back, how can we interoperate with Ethereum? And Ethereum is always the go-to because that, like we said earlier, that's where the majority of the business lies at the moment. And so if they can connect with that, that gives them the access to the wider arena of crypto. So definitely Ethereum's not going anywhere, in spite of the fact that we are seeing the competitors come up. And I very much welcome that, because it's, to an extent, an existential risk of the cryptocurrency markets that so much of the business is all in one place. Because if some critical thing were to happen with Ethereum, that could have a drastic effect on the entire space. Whereas if Ethereum only had, I don't know, 10% of the business, for example, or 20% of the business, you know, Vitalik Buterin getting hit by a bus, I don't want anything bad happening to Vitalik, by the way, I love that guy, but that wouldn't
Well, he does get killed. He does get killed like once a month. If you
yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody buys up. So
these rumors do come around, right? So, and we see flash crashes as a result. There was a really big one, I think it was July or June, July last year. We saw a big flash crash as a result of that. So that says that there's too much power in place and there's too much of a centralized point of failure, even though it's a decentralized blockchain, of course.
Exactly. You were talking about word of mouth before, man, and you know, Twitter is like the ultimate word of mouth. And you know, look what happened. I don't know if did you see like the whole thing with Neo a couple weeks ago?
Oh yeah.
How the nodes went down for like a couple minutes or something, and everyone freaked out. And it was just like, guys, calm down. Like I try to tell people, like, do you know how long it takes in the real world for technology to progress? You know what I mean? Like when I download an update on my phone and then it says, oh, you know, would you like to download these bug fixes? No problem. Sure. Yeah, obviously. But for some reason, when it happens in crypto, it's like, that's it. Throw in the towel. This project's done with, you know. Give it up.
Everybody sell now.
Yeah. It's like, oh my goodness. Sometimes you just want people to just put the phone down for a second. Stop looking at the portfolio and news and just go out, just go breathe the sunshine in or something, you know, go take a walk.
Hey, that's great advice. That's really great advice. I think most people forget that sometimes. There's like a world out there where it's, you know, like Dude, away from Blockfolio.
I forget. Actually, we were joking before we started, but I wanted to put it in here. Yeah, I was saying like, you know, I was talking to Blockchain Brad, and we were saying how, you know, getting in the car and going out in the real world, it feels like you just got out of like a 10-year sentence in prison. And I haven't seen the world for the first time. Like, you know, I'll see friends and family, and I actually have to ask them, like, what's going on in the real world, guys? Like, because I don't, like, I'm so invested in crypto that, like, for me, real world issues, I feel bad, but I don't even have enough time to really look at what's going on, you know? I mean, the world, we could be a zombie apocalypse, and I'm, like, too busy checking ontology. Like, are we up? Are we down? Like,
or the classic, you know, you see, like, I don't know, regular people like, hey, man, so what do you think about what's happening in South Korea with cryptocurrencies today?
Yeah.
What?
I know. Most people think about what's happening in North Korea with bombs, and I'm like, well, what's going on in South Korea with the regulation? I know. First world problem.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. But there's, of course, I talk about this a lot on the channel, all the amazing potential for cryptocurrencies actually working in the developing world, too, so... You know,
yeah, no, that's one of the biggest things. Yeah, I agree. You know, when I first looked at it, I got involved essentially because the technology I thought was amazing. And then the price started going up, and that's where my mind started getting all into the trading and stuff. But I initially got into this because I was like, you know what? You know, the whole, you know, unbanked the banked, or Omisego banking the unbanked, whatever it is. This is a real world application. I mean, do you watch David Hay at all? What he's been trying to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I got to see. Well, you were at the NAC3, right?
No, I didn't go to NAC3, but I've been chatting with them. We're gonna have a YouTube collab here pretty soon. So
I saw you listed on the website. I thought you were.
Oh yeah, I will be. I'm gonna be talking in San Francisco in June, actually. So.
Oh, cool! I have to come out then. That sounds fun.
Rock and roll.
But yeah, speaking of things like David Hay, you know, he talks about the issues going on in Venezuela. I think I mean, what is it? He said $1 a year ago is worth like a penny or 2 pennies or something. They had almost a 99% inflationary like rate, and it's like, you know, it's like how you think like back in those old black and white photos of people with the wheelbarrows of money, you know, running around trying to pay for bread and stuff. So, you know, he himself is also looking at some of these applications that maybe these cryptocurrencies could actually help these developing countries, you know, give them an actual stable, well, not stable, it's volatile, but something better than what their government is giving them right now. So, yeah.
Absolutely. You know, I come from a political science background primarily. And so when I got into cryptocurrencies, I started looking around and seeing all these really interesting real-world use applications for blockchain technology. And then, of course, looking at the tech behind it, you start to realize, wow, this is also really exciting technology. And then you also realize, by investing in the future of the world, making the world a better place, I'm also going to become, like, crazy rich. That's cool, too, right? Yeah, it's a win-win. It's a win-win. You do good things, and, you know, hopefully you get to buy yourself a Tesla Roadster or something, if that's so be your desire, of course. I've been,
yeah, man.
One of the exciting things for me has been able to give more back to charities, actually. I've been able to support a few different charities recently, which I wasn't really able to do on my previous non-crypto wages, so that's pretty cool too. So
that's awesome, man. You got it. You know what? I always think there is that bit of philanthropy. You know what I mean? I don't obviously have you know, enough to give away to charities, but you know, I do. You know, I try to do like giveaways on my channel. If once in a while, just say thank you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I don't know. You got to give back. You know what I mean? You have
Absolutely.
to, especially when you're an influencer. You know, because the thing is like people. What's crazy for me is like, you know, you have a lot of subscribers. I've only recently just joined the game, so for me this is all new. But it does get kind of crazy for me personally because, you know, I'll ask community coins, what do you want to talk about? Let's talk about the news. And I'll go over 10 different coins a day. And inevitably, I'll have somebody in my comments that'll be like, thank you, K-Dub. Because of you, I invested, you know, 75% of my fiat into that coin. And I'm like,
that's not what I said to Dad. No.
Do your own due diligence. I mean, I'm just here to just spread awareness. I just want to talk, have a good time. But like, you know, don't I don't know. I just get worried about that, you know, especially, you know, someone's going to get mad. They're going to lose all their money and they're going to be like, K-Dub, you told me to buy this. I'm like, I didn't tell you to buy it.
I was just talking about it, man.
I wanted to talk about it. That's all. You know, I like to compare things. I talk about things on my channel, coins I don't even own. You know what I mean? I'm willing to look at all blockchain technology, you know, and blockchain technology for me is the real foundation, because crypto's fun, but blockchain, that's what's really pushing the forefront. Like when you see Google and, you know, Amazon or IBM, they're not really trying to make a cryptocurrency. They're trying to utilize blockchain technology. So exactly. I don't see blockchain technology going anywhere anytime soon whatsoever.
Absolutely. It's going to be part of that suite of technology that's going to move us into a new direction for our economy, because it just enables the Internet of Things in a way that wasn't as easily enabled before. It enables the sharing economy in a seamless fashion. It allows you to own your data and be able to monetize your own data should you prefer to, or to keep your data private should you prefer to. And all the news that we see basically just continues to make the case for why blockchain technology is necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very exciting. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, there's like a little delay in the thing, so every time I stop, I think you're going to talk. It's kind of funny. But
that's all right.
Who's talking on the internet, right? There's that delay. But yeah, I mean, we were talking about that. You just said about, you know, your security, your privacy. And I think that when you look at these coins, okay, we were talking about, you know, other than blockchain platforms, right? I mean, now I don't know if you've noticed, I've been very bullish on Ontology recently, because they're extremely invested in that whole trust ecosystem where you can have your identity, but you don't have to share the details of it that you don't actually want to share. But I do talk about Ontology all the time. So even going on to another coin, you know, for example, like Enigma, which I don't own any, just being transparent, but they're also looking to do these secret smart contracts. So essentially, for example, you know, say you have a job, you're a teacher or you're a doctor or whatever it is that you do, whatever your profession is, and, you know, you want to show proof that you got paid, but you don't want to show how much you got paid. Those are also really good implementations for these newer blockchains with these privacy features. So I can validate that a transaction occurred, but I can still keep my privacy at the same time. You know what I mean? And these are the things that I think a lot of these guys that we were talking about with the blockchain adoption, they're worried about these centralized data breaches. It's not good to have everyone's information at one bottleneck choke point, because that's when you get things like Equifax, you know, or, you know, the whole Facebook leak thing that was happening the other week or whatever. So yeah, those are real world applications, man.
That's it. It's a crazy situation that we've actually we've accepted the situation the way it is for so long. We're basically living in a world where we have some shiny things, but actually the large amount of our economy is still based in the past, and we're really struggling to make that next step, and technology is what we need to make that next step forward to enable really a new economy that's going to be able to deliver an incredible amount of social goods that's hard to actually even imagine for most people to accept, because we've been living in really an outdated economy for such a long time, where we're struggling with things like, you know, still using carbon-based fuels and things like this. And that's a different story, but it all comes together because this technology that we're seeing now is going to be part of the driving force in moving us forward, really as a civilization. And, you know, to go big picture here, but
yeah, no, I agree, man. I think we're very outdated. I mean, the banking system is ridiculous. I can't even deal with it anymore. You know, first of all, I can't even get to a bank because they're never open when I need to go there. You know what I mean? They're never open. You know, and then you were talking about things like, you know, carbon footprints and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we are so far beyond this. Like, how many more examples of better sources of reusable energy do we need, guys? I mean, you have, I mean, not to be that guy, but you literally have the sun, the wind, water. I mean, you even have, nuclear, if you really want to be that guy. I mean, I know a lot of people are like, they freak out about the whole, you know, hydrogen reaction thing. But realistically speaking, in a contained environment, you could have that reaction just continue over and over and over again. And once you get it started, you know, I mean, there's just other solutions to these moving forward. And what I think the big thing is when the blockchain becomes like how it is on Steemit. I think that's the key. Because, you know, we're early adopters, Lark, you and I, right? We're in it, you know, we're going on we're entering our, you know, this and that. But most people don't want to deal with all that technical stuff. And I think that once these blockchains are able to get in, like, hide themselves in a platform, like you said, Power Ledger, right? So that's a real world use case. That's something buying and selling electricity. That's a real world use case. And once that becomes on an app that just looks like Instagram on your phone, and you can just tap and touch a couple buttons and you don't even know you're on the blockchain, I think that is when it's just going to go to the moon. That is like we've hit it. We've done
That's it. I completely agree. It's got to be the seamless user experience, much like most of the technology that's in this. No idea how it works, especially, you know, I've got an inkling of how some of the applications work, but most people never even question how any of this stuff works. The networks, the programming that goes into all this stuff, no idea, but they know they can tap a button and it works. And that's where blockchain needs to be. I completely agree.
I mean, we all drive cars, right? I mean, how many people can actually tell you how does a combustion engine work? How does a car actually work? You don't, but you know, you turn the key, you push the gas, you turn the thing, and you go, right? You're driving. And once we can get it so that blockchain and these types of cryptos and all of this becomes as simple as, you know, putting a car in drive and driving, that is when I think we're going to see the explosion, personally. So, yeah. Absolutely. What do you think about the market? What do you think about, like, I know we were talking about the red and everything, but as far as, like, you know, people keep asking when Moon, when Lambo. I think that, you know, I was looking at this thing about the CBOE and you know, the Chicago Board of Exchanges, and it's not like they're not trying to get in over here. I mean, the investors, especially in America, they want in. There's a demand for it, but because they're already in the system, because they're already involved in Wall Street, the ETFs are being very, very cautious about treading. You know, they don't know what crypto is a security, what crypto is a utility, what crypto is, you know, gas for the network. You know, they're still trying to figure all that out, but the truth is that for everyone thinks that people have lost interest, the investors have not. I can tell you that with certainty. They want to get in the US, but they're just waiting because they don't want to get involved in something only to be slammed, you know, later on finding out that, oh yeah, that was illegal and you couldn't do that. So yeah.
I completely agree. I completely agree. And this is the thing, is that while Main Street investors may be looking, going, I'm kind of scared because it's gone down so much, I don't know about this volatility. The banks aren't. The big venture capital firms are not. You know, I was just at this conference in Hong Kong. There were boatloads of venture capital funds there, and they're talking, they're making deals. Some of the most popular ICOs aren't even going to ICO. They're literally just being bought out by the VC firms before they even get there. The money's coming in, and you may not see that every day in the market because they're not necessarily going out and putting in an order to buy $100 million worth of Bitcoin. No, they're more strategic than that. You know, selling Bitcoin, like people sold at 6,000. I don't know who was selling their Bitcoin at 6K, but you're basically selling it straight to the banks, in my opinion, because they're looking for these buying opportunities. They want to collect these strategic assets like Bitcoin, like Ethereum. You know, that article that came out a few months ago, that half the big businesses in the UK have strategic reserves of cryptocurrencies, particularly Ethereum, but also Bitcoin, and they hold on to that stuff. They look at it as a strategic long-term reserve. They're buying when the dips happen. And it's out there. It's happening. We may not see it every day, but the money is coming in, and it's coming in from all kinds of different angles. Companies that are investing just in blockchain technology, not necessarily connected to cryptocurrencies, to companies that are investing in straight up cryptocurrency and buying Bitcoin. Or we see the great mergers of like IBM and Stellar. You know, the guy from the VP of IBM came out and said, we have no plans of developing our own blockchain. We're just going to use Stellar. That's awesome news, right? Yeah.
I have to say, I just looked at that for the longest time. I was like I used to think that Stellar and Ripple were the same thing. I was like, oh, they're just spin-offs of each other. And only recently have I really realized what Jed McCaleb has been doing with the project. You know, he was on CNBC here in America just the other night, and you realize that he basically took Ripple and he was like, I want to expand upon it. I want it more decentralized. For me, I kind of consider Stellar, in my opinion, a better version of Ripple. I think it's a more community-friendly coin. So, and also I wanted to talk on that, the topic too, that you were talking about, you know, people buying and you're basically just selling to the banks. The thing that and I'm not a technical analysis trader or whatever, but the truth is for every sell, there's a buy. Yep. I mean, you know, when you see these happening, I mean, if you're selling, somebody's buying. So the truth is that when Bitcoin made that dip down to $6,000 and those people were buying, The question is, who are those people? Like, you can't see the person on the other end. And I try to explain that to people. You know, I always stress to hold a little bit of Bitcoin in your portfolio. And people go, well, what Bitcoin? I'm not gonna make any money. It's like, it's not about the money. It's just about, if you hold the Bitcoin, you're not part of the volume. You're not part of the trading, and you can help secure the floor. Every time you give it away, you're just giving it to these guys to do whatever they want with it. And whether or not you want to admit it, Bitcoin is the big papa. And when Bitcoin goes down, I don't care what altcoin you're holding, it's going to take a hit.
Everything goes down. That's it.
So you have to understand that, as much as we don't like Bitcoin necessarily because it might be an outdated thing or it may not make you as much money, by you giving up and selling your Bitcoin to the guy on the other screen who you don't even know who it is, who are you giving your Bitcoin to? You know what I mean? Who's accumulating in the background?
That's it. That's it. Because whales are accumulating. We've seen some of the people have caught some of the orders, and they've seen some of the wallet addresses filling up. People are going in big time, and you're not going in big time on Bitcoin if you don't, spending like real money, millions upon millions of dollars, if you don't see either A, as a strategic asset, or B, a massive future potential return on it. So.
Definitely, man. I've been on Binance, and sometimes I see these orders for like 400 Bitcoin, and I'm like, the whales are back. The whales are back. Like a 400 Bitcoin order? I don't know who you are, bro, but you must have some serious confidence in the market.
That's it. But they see it. I mean, Bitcoin under 10K, I feel like, is a steal. And I know a lot of people don't like the idea that, well, I'm only going to get, 5x on my money or something, or 3x my money by the end of the year. And, you kind of need to think a bit past that, because Bitcoin does have big time future potential. But there are altcoins that offer you more X's, but Bitcoin's kind of, in a crazy way, the safer investment, even though it's still a cryptocurrency, which is very volatile. I want to shoot this idea out to you, though. Bitcoin as the global currency. Ironic that, of course, the CEO of Twitter came out and said, hey, Bitcoin can be the global currency, and 3 days later, by the way, we're going to ban all cryptocurrency ads on Twitter. But nevertheless, it's an interesting concept. Do you think it could ever happen?
Well, as far as Twitter goes, I think he was doing that more for the scammers. Honestly, I think Jack Dorsey, I think he is a crypto fan. I just think that he realized a lot of people are getting scammed. So I think that was actually a good thing, because we don't need any more BitConnects, any more bad references to the crypto space. As far as Bitcoin being a world currency, okay, I mean, going on public record, sure, why not? I mean, what is a currency? A currency is just adoption. A currency is just a bunch of people that get together and say, this has value, right? I mean, at one point, tulips had value. I mean, yeah, that's a joke. I'm not going to compare that to Bitcoin, because tulips, you can plant one and grow more. You can't do that with Bitcoin. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the thing that, people don't understand about the volatility is really because we have a 300 and, what is it? I don't even know what it is today. $315, $330 billion market cap. Do you guys realize in the global finance world how small that is? I mean, the G20 summit was literally like, we're too busy to talk about crypto. Like, yeah, we'll get to it in July. We don't have time for that, right? But as we begin to have more money pool in, and you look at for example, the market cap of gold, or the market cap of real estate, or the market cap of all the stocks and bonds, right? So when you consider that, we're at less than 1%, if that, of the global currency. So yeah, as we begin to adopt it, as more people begin to buy Bitcoin, the price will stable. And if it is able to be adopted in that sense, then yes, it could absolutely be a global currency, and it would become stable like any other currency, like for Forex trading. You'd have a couple cents dipping day to day maybe, but it's going to take that mass adoption. So yeah, I could see Bitcoin as a global currency. Will it be the ultimate one? We don't know. It could be anything, but I think it has potential. I do. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I completely believe it does as well. And if you actually look at the way Bitcoin was built with the deflationary model over time and things, you actually can see that when they thought about it, they thought this could be a global currency someday. Because if you actually realize when the last Bitcoin is mined, obviously there's still a need for miners if we have a global currency, because you still have to verify transactions. There'll still be transaction fees to be had at that point. And so the model, of course, is based on adoption. If you look at the numbers behind Bitcoin, will it be the only cryptocurrency that is seen as a global currency, though? That's perhaps a different question. I feel like there might be this kind of raft of generally accepted currencies, like you might be able to pay, I don't know, your taxes in Bitcoin or buy a house in Bitcoin, but maybe when you're buying a coffee, people will take Litecoin or Stellar or something, and businesses will use Stellar to transact, for example, and things like this. You might actually see a few different applications for the top cryptocurrencies to actually be used as units of transfer around the world, but that things will be priced maybe in 2 or 3 different currencies when you go in to buy a coffee, for example.
Yeah, no, you make a really good point. I mean, if you look right now, we don't have one world currency. I mean, we have, you know, euros, yen, dollars, Australian, Canadian. We have all kinds of different types of ways of paying. So yeah, I mean, will it become the global currency? That is a tough question, but I agree with you. Yeah, we have a lot of other payment options as well. And I think as time develops and as these scalability solutions are resolved, then we may see other players, you know, it's possible. It honestly, to be sitting here talking to you, bro, versus who I was last year, that alone is just unbelievably life-changing. Like, I literally used to be a landscaper, dude. I was a guy on a mower, listening in my headphones to Crypto Lark, talking about this, talking about that. And here I am sitting in my house talking to Crypto Lark. So, I mean, this space moves so fast. I mean, projects that didn't even exist when like Cardano, when Cardano came out. Oh my goodness, I'm getting updates from people.
It.
Okay.
That's all right. That's right. Well, yeah. Well, when Cardano came out, I remember people were saying, it's way overvalued for what it is, and of course, when you look into the tech, you go, wow, that's pretty exciting. So
yeah, no, Cardano is one of those ones that just kind of I slept on, because when it came out, I didn't even know what it was. It came out at like it debuted, right? Because you were talking about private investors, so that wasn't a public ICO, and that ICO came out. And it was like, all of a sudden, it's in the front page of CoinMarketCap. It's got I think it was like, don't quote me on this.
It was like 600 million or something like that. Yeah.
I thought to myself, this is way too high. I mean, you remember what happened with Ucash when it came out, and it went all the way up to 1.3 billion. It was in like the top 10. And everyone was like, bro, you got to get in on this. And like literally the next day, it like completely crashed down like 90%. And everybody was like, you know, so I didn't know what it was, but had I known what it was back then, oh, you bet I would have scooped it up for 2-3 cents. Definitely. Oh my goodness, I missed the boat on that one. So
yeah, my only regret is that I didn't buy more when it was 2 cents. But hey, it's actually at a pretty decent buying opportunity right now. So, you know, for all people who felt like they missed the boat. So
you have to do your due diligence, but unfortunately, you can only do it so fast. And you know, some people like to buy now, do the research later. I tried that, it didn't work.
Nope.
So I stopped.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I lost a lot of money. Oh my goodness, I bought. Forget about it. You remember Chaincoin? You ever see Chaincoin when it? Yeah. Yep. That was me. I bought that.
It happens. You got to do your own. You got to do your research, right? Never buy the hype. Never run out and say, "Oh man, Crypto Lark, I saw this like 5-minute video where he mentioned this thing. I'm gonna go buy, like, you know, put my life savings into that right now." Like, no.
Yeah. Do not put your life savings into crypto. I mean, granted, I did that, but just don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. I got lucky. I would never suggest anybody to do that. All right. So, yeah, that was probably a stupid decision on my part, but what are you gonna do? Here we are. So.
Here we are.
K-Dub, so
K-Dub, let's go ahead and finish up there, man. This has been a really cool chat. I think we've covered a great range of topics. So, for anyone who's not subscribed to K-Dub's channel yet, there is going to be a link down below, so make sure you go and check him out. All right.
Thank you very much, guys. And if for some reason you're not already subscribed to the Crypto Lark, definitely check this guy out. He's awesome. He is definitely one of my biggest influences when it comes to this space. You know, Lark, listen, man, I got to tell you, I've always appreciated your integrity. You've always been transparent. You know, you do these sponsored, whatever, you say it, you're honest, you donate to charity, you're out there at the events. You know, I know you care about the real world issues, man, and it's an honor to have this chance to talk to you. And I really hope that more people can be inspired by the example that you've set forth. And, you know, moving forward in the crypto space, people, yes, it's about making money, but I think ultimately it's about the community and it's about the tech and it's about changing the world. I know that sounds corny, but it really seriously is. So I'm honored to be here today, Lark. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you for the nice comments, K-Dub, without a doubt, man. And it's great having you here too. I mean, quality is quality, man, and you make quality videos, so it's a pleasure to chat to you, without a doubt.
Thank you so much. All right, guys. So everyone that came to my channel, Crypto Lark, go follow him. And until next time, peace out, guys.
Long live the blockchain.